What is going on, guys? Chris here. Welcome back to another video. So, the main topic of conversation over the past couple of months has been, how do you think Smite is doing? It's the number one question I get asked, and considering I've made a lot of predictions, a lot of those of which I've been right, some of those which I've been wrong, I decided to make a video and actually break down how I think Smite has done from the beginning of this year until now. So, let's just jump right into the video. So, this is Smite 1's current numbers. 2,300 players. You include console. Maybe we're sitting somewhere around 7 or 8,000. It's really hard to tell. It's all guessing at this point. But you always got to imagine Steam accounts for maybe 30-ish% of the player base, because that's not including Epic Games. That's not including Xbox. Not including PlayStation. Not including the Xbox launcher on PC. Those are also aren't tracked. So, educated guesses, honestly. But usually this is going to be, a couple 4 or 5 grand more for this number, so 30%, so 2/3 is going to be everywhere else. So previous year, January, 22,000, scaling down to about 6 or 7,000 peak players at the end of the year. Granted, these numbers are with Smite 2 competing, and then obviously we're down to 6 or 7,000, but even then, we still got some people staying on Smite 1, probably because their god isn't in the game yet, but who knows. So the scale at which we're going to be talking about Smite is Smite 2 through halfway through the year. Is it great? Is it good? Is it okay? Is it bad, or is it a failure? Is it just an outright failure? Without being dramatic, but everyone always comes in the stream from time to time. There's like, Smite 2 dead, etc., etc. I mean, it's really not. We did the August release, if you guys remember, way back in August. This is when they launched the game 24/7. They made a vast number of changes from like the June, July playtests a full year ago. The game, if you didn't play it at that time, felt really bad. Even from somebody who's admittedly been one of the more optimistic people in the scene, maybe almost frustrating optimism at times. Don't get me wrong. I understand. I am aware. With the amount of doomers there was during the time, I felt like it was needed in the community to have somebody who was just constantly, even maybe annoyingly, looking to the positives. But if you guys don't remember, last June, July, the game wasn't that good. The easiest way I could describe it is everything felt like you were in an Olaran ult at 0.9 instead of everything moving at 1.0, you were moving just at 0.9. Everything felt slow. Abilities felt sluggish. Animations felt slow. It's really hard to describe unless you actually played it, but it felt like you were playing underwater. Everything was just slow. Everything felt clunky. Nothing felt good. On the August 24/7 launch, they adjusted everything to kind of meet Smite 1 in terms of like how quickly abilities came off, how quickly they cast, how quickly your autos thing, the animation style, how fast you moved when you got hit. A bunch of things changed, including adding, they added a bunch of Smite 1 items. They added starter items back to the game. They just added a bunch of different things to launch the game. The game took off. Quickly dipped, only within a week or two, back down to like 2,000, 3,000. This is probably mostly the time where people were most worried, because this was during the first round of layoffs, and we were sitting there with only 1,500 to 2,000 players a day on Steam. But all the creators had swapped over, so it was clear from a Smite creator and dev standpoint, everyone was all in Smite 2, and this is probably the most worrying time. So for anybody to be worried now, we'll get to that in a little bit, but like, if it wasn't dead here, right? If you said it was dead here, maybe, right? Maybe I was a little bit more like, maybe I'm wrong, right? But like, no, I think even during this time, I said it's not, we're not doing great, to be honest with you, but it has potential. I think that's what a lot of creators said here during these times. They're like, I see the potential, I see the timeline they're moving through to January. When they had these round of layoffs right here, they gave us a full roadmap to, here's what we're trying to accomplish as a dev team by January, and that timeline and what they wanted to achieve by here it looked great. When we're talking about aspects, and we're talking about Aladdin, all the different gods, this amount of gods per week, all the things they wanted to do leading into Worlds, and like, it sounded great. And shout out to the devs, they were able to accomplish a lot by January. So we moved through this time here, and then January launches. We have, in my opinion, you couldn't ask for a better Founders Tournament Worlds event in Vegas. Now, don't get me wrong, I would have rather had it been Atlanta or Arlington and had it been a big event, like a big event, rather than just an esports event. It's the main reason I didn't go was because I go for Worlds. I don't really go specifically just for the esports. But the tournament was fantastic. The quality production was fantastic. Some of the games and even that Scepter of Dominion play with Beniku and Polar Bear Mike to this day is one of my favorite plays at Worlds that I've ever seen. Just being able to see what the potential is for Smite 2's SPL scene in the skill stealing that was being attained with these different active items and the way people could play, it was really exciting. This was easily the moment I was the most wrong. Coming out of this weekend with a 21,000 peak player base, Aladdin launched. We just had Worlds. Worlds was sick. The viewership at Worlds was pretty solid for a Founders tournament in a game that is launching beta, right? I thought we were chilling. I was wrong. Some internal numbers that hit here did not meet something they wanted to see. And, we got pretty big setback by some layoffs. That really killed the momentum we had. I've already made videos on what I felt about the layoffs, and we talked about whether they were needed or not needed, frustrating, all of it, right? We've already made videos on that, but it really, really killed the momentum. But through that, if you just want to talk about where the game was in January to where the game is now, the game, and this isn't my rating for how Smite 2 is doing right now, but the game itself is great. The progress it made from August to January is night and day better. Night and day. So if you haven't played it since last spring, like when it first came out, please try the game, because I can tell you from spring to August, completely different game in a good way. From August to January, yet again, so much of an advancement in the quality of life and in the gameplay. Again, night and day game. And I would even genuinely say from January till now, night and day. The amount of progress the devs, so shout out to the dev team for all the bullshit they've dealt with throughout this journey, right? The game and how long or how far it's come in this short period of time, the game is great. If you haven't tried it, I urge you to try it. Try it even just to prove me wrong. Try it just to come to my stream later and tell me I'm an idiot. Some people do that. Not often. Some people do that. They're like, I did try it, I don't like it. Like, all right, well, what didn't you like about it, right? And we'll have a conversation, but try it. Try it. Come to this comment section, tell me I'm dumb. Don't care, but try it. Because what happens to most people? I have testimonies probably about once every other week where it's like, fine, right? Your stubbornness made me try the fucking game, right? It made me try it, fine. I wanted to dislike it. I got on, honestly, I'm having a really good time. It's actually really fun. I'm not even kidding, once a week. And yeah, that's just one player, but that's how the game grows. That is the best grassroots way to grow the game. You get people on, they grab a couple friends, maybe get them on, yo, try it. Smite is great, right? Somebody you trust tells you to try it, maybe not the optimistic, Chris T. Passion Prince Dixon, right? But genuinely try it. Player base right now, we did take a dip as expected. Most games do after, and this is if you looked at the old Smite 1, same thing, right? It's always a downtrend. Obviously more of a downtrend in the beta, but we've been pretty much since about April-ish. Since about April, we've been chilling between 5,500 and 7,000 for about mid-April, May, June, July, 3 or 4 months now ish, sitting between 6,500 or 5,500 and 7,000 ish, right? Somewhere right around there. The question during this period right here was, how far are we falling? When will the downtrend level off? It's clear that it's leveled off around 5,500 to 7,000 players on Steam, which would equate to probably, people always argue with me about these numbers, but it's always very clear that Steam only accounts for 30 to 40% max, right? If you guys don't think, somebody actually argued with me in YouTube comment section the other day, if you guys don't think the vast majority of the players are on console, you're just wrong. It's just, we don't have access to those numbers, but to think that even 50% of the players is right here, it's just not, right? Epic Games, Xbox launcher on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, 4 other platforms. Consoles are owned by a larger variety of people, right? How many people own gaming consoles? 53% of all households. PlayStation, Xbox Series S, 3.3 active billion, while 26% upgraded to 26% upgraded to Xbox 5. Don't know the exact number, but a lot of people. 3.32 billion, so 26% of that. So don't know, but a lot. You get it. You get the point. So a lot of people have consoles, right? So more than people that can run this game on PCs. I was a console gamer throughout a lot of my life. So if we're sitting at like 6,000, 6,500, you're realistically looking at 20, 25,000 overall player base consistently every day. If you haven't checked out the Travelers markets, the Wandering markets, and the cosmetic system within the game, the cosmetics for Smite with their art team and whatnot, the quality of their skins compared to other games, because with the difference between the quality of skins in Smite compared to the quality of skins in other games is you get the skin, but you also get new animations on the skin, and you also get new audio cues that associate with the skin, right? So every time you cast an auto cast ability, sometimes, you know, with the better skins, which is usually at least the tier 3, tier 4, or whatever you would call them, tier 5 skins, you get new animations, you get new audio cues, you get new voice packs, you get like there's so much more that you get with it. So it always feels like it's worth a buy if you like the character and like the cosmetic. And then not only that, but the wandering markets and traveler markets so far throughout gaming has been my favorite form of way to spend money within a game. Right? I don't like the FOMO type stuff, and they tone that down quite a bit here. I don't like the chest rolls. While there is chests in the game, the wandering markets and traveler markets pretty much take the bulk of what your opportunities to get skins are. So that's fantastic. I imagine they have to be making decent money off that. From what I see, everyone's always excited about it in my chat. So with a 25,000 active players on a daily basis, and that's unique people per day, not how many people have played this week or this month. That's obviously much higher. And then you account for the fact that those skins that they're doing are pretty dope, and I see a lot of people excited about it. I think the company is doing okay in terms of like where they're at, if they're hitting marks they think they should be hitting, especially with the size that they've trended down to, which is about, I think, like this 70 employees or something like that. I would imagine they're having an optimistic going into quarter 3, quarter 4 right now. This is probably my biggest concern right now. This is Smite 2's active viewership. We're sitting between 1,200 and 1,400 average viewers per day right now. They do have drops on for market coins, which was a decent idea. But if you want to look at it, like, it's really hard to compare the pandemic numbers, right? Because this is just so high. But even like as we're heading into our last months here, we're talking like the last year here, 3,000s, and even then, even at Smite 1's lowest, right, when everyone knew everyone was swapping over to Smite 2, we were still sitting at 3 times ish what we were at. And then even pre-pandemic, because pandemic numbers aren't fair to compare. Please, if you're ever talking analytics with anybody, please stop comparing 2020 to 2023. Everybody was stuck inside. It's not numbers that you should be looking at. So even before this, when maybe we were competing with Mixer even and whatnot, we were still double. So the viewership is kind of the main worry right now. I know a lot of the creators are down more than normal. We've lost a lot of creators, as would be expected when a game transitions out like this. But shout out to anybody who continues to leave lurks and streams and whatnot. That I know that helps the creators a lot. A lot of people putting out a lot of good content, kind of trudging through what is easily, I would say, Smite's roughest 18 months for content creators. Luckily for me, and thanks to y'all, my channels and everything are doing better than they ever have. But still, this is pretty much my main concern: is what is interesting content to make for Smite 2 right now, right? There's educational content we could make. There's other stuff, but like that would make more sense to probably make at 1.0 launch when there's a flood of new players coming in, to have new educational content uploaded and ready to go in that moment. So it's kind of like a waiting game. So we're kind of in the middle of the year. I think my main concern is people are getting kind of complacent with the amount of new content coming out. Usually at the mid-season patch, we have another big burst of like, yo, this is really exciting. We have a whole new map and a whole new this, whereas right now we're just getting a steady something new every 2 weeks. And credit to the devs, they're putting a lot into every 2 weeks. And I've asked this before actually on Titan Talk. I asked, do you think it'd be more beneficial to release things in big batches to try to gain some hype rather than just a consistent schedule of, like a god and a whole bunch of stuff every 2 weeks? Because every time I see what they launched every 2 weeks, it's like they launched a god, here's the quality of life changes, here's some bug fixes, here's some balance changes, here's some quality of life additions, here's this. I always look at that 2 weeks and I go, that's a lot. Like that's a good amount of work done from the team. Like, right, I never look at it and go, they're not doing enough, what are they doing? My main issue and my main concern now is I think people are getting complacent to where they're starting to expect that every 2 weeks, and we just really have like nothing. And it sounds so dumb, but it's just the way the human brain works. We don't really have anything to look forward to, even though that's not true because there's like another new god coming in 2 weeks. But I feel like people are getting used to it. I feel like the best part about Smite 1 was it's like you have the main hype at the beginning of the year coming off the end of Worlds. You're starting the new season, right? Everything, all the ranks are getting reset or soft reset. You got new items. You got maybe a new map, blah, blah, blah. There's new stuff to look forward to. Kind of downtrends. We get into the mid-season patch. All of a sudden, there's another land probably. We got new items, a new map. Like, there's always something to look forward to. They can't do that right now because they realistically just need to be grinding out the game, but that leads to a major drought in content in what we can make. And again, you would think because there's new God coming out every so often, there is good content. There is, and people are making good content, but we're just kind of in a lull right now. I think that's my main issue. So, is Smite 2 in a great place right now? No. Is Smite 2 in a good place right now? No. Smite 2, to me, is in an okay place. It's okay. The game is good. The player base is okay. The viewership is bad. Let's just call it for what it is. The viewership across pretty much most channels is down quite a bit, down 20, 30%. Some creators 50, 60%, some creators 70%. It's just is what it is. And so that hurts. The player base is holding, which is optimistic because they're not doing any marketing to get new players to the game. You might ask yourself, why are they not bringing new players into the game? Because the new player retention doesn't warrant it. If you're spending $3 million on marketing the game and only 7% of the people that you're bringing to the game are actually sticking with the game for longer than 10 games, and only 4% of those people are sticking around after, you're wasting money. Develop the game to where it's good enough to play. If there's clearly a consistent enough player base to keep it afloat, wait until the game is in a good enough spot, maybe in February for a 1.0 launch if that's what they decide to do. Work on new player retention for the next 6 months, and then market the fuck out of the game in January, February for a full release with a batch of new gods and a new map or something like that. And I think we go from this right back to Smite 1 numbers of 15,000 peaks per day, maybe a 25 to 30,000 peak, around Worlds. Just random guess. Do I think we can hit that? Yeah. We already hit 21 during a beta, right? During the beta launch with arguably one of the biggest droughts and biggest tumultuous times in high res and Smite's history, right? And we were still able to attain 21 on launch. So I don't think it's unreasonable to see maybe a 20-30% hike in the 1.0 release, at least since we've maintained these numbers. Maintaining these numbers in this past 18 months, it leaves me optimistic, but I don't think it's in a great or good place. I do think it's in okay. I don't think it's in a bad or a failed category either. I put it right in the middle. Game quality, how fun the game is, we're great. We are chilling. I'm not even kidding. We're great. The game has never felt better. I can't even imagine what it's going to look like in 5-6 months, considering when I said, spring to here, August to January to now to January again. If they keep on this trend, which it looks like the devs are, we're going to be in a very, very good place come January. If we can add on to that with some new player retention, some UI, some menu adjustments, some bug fixes, and then launch a batch of gods with maybe like 2 brand new Smite 2 gods, like a good batch of like 5 hyped Smite 1 gods, pair that with some good marketing around January, February time for a 1.0 release. Yeah, I don't think there's any question in my mind we'd be able to hit up in the 30s and then maybe maintain 15,000 to 20,000 just on Steam next year. If we're able to maintain 6 to 7 in this year, which again I think is arguably between from now till 12 months ago is going to be the hardest time to maintain, in my opinion. This is going to be this is the hardest road we are currently on right now. And I'm thankful that it looks like Smite 2 has survived. If it was going to die, it would have by now, in my opinion. As long as we don't have any more stupid, right? As long as, right, you know what I'm saying, right? We may, as long as we don't make any bad decisions, ones that just drop us off a cliff. But to be fair, we got Kilgoon, aka Alex, in charge. He is now the head of the ship right now. I have faith in him. Not that I didn't have faith in the people before, and the people we lost. Rest in peace to they didn't die. Gaming rest in peace to the high res portion of them. But like, I have faith that his leadership and decision making. I have faith in him. I have faith in the devs that are still working there. Clumsy, Pon, and everybody else. It'd be too many people to name, so I don't know why I started naming names. But I think we're in an okay place. I think by the end of the year we can be in a good place, and I think by January going into Q1 of next year we can be in a great place. We're not there right now. We're in an okay place. That's the official answer from the very, very optimistic, streamer who's always trying to keep this game alive with maybe even a false sense of security here. But that's it. Need some viewership here, right? Keep continuing to lurk and help these creators out. Not even just me, but all these people that are grinding throughout this year. It's a rough year for a lot of these people, right? Turn on Smite 2. Watch it. If you haven't watched it, maybe watching it will get you to play it. Help support the creators during this time. Support the devs. I don't know, buy diamonds. I got a giveaway going on right now on Twitter. Go check it out. I'll see you guys tomorrow for stream. 9 a.m. 9 a.m. to 5. 6 days a week. We don't stop. Goodbye.